although it's great to revisit familiar locations, there is something really nice about checking out new places, and that's what I'm doing today. Today's priority is exploration, but that doesn't mean to say I won't be doing some photography. I have the philosophy that wherever you are and whatever conditions, there's always an image if you look hard enough, and that's what I'm going to be doing. I'll tell you more about the location, possibly locations, in a minute. But in the meantime, I hope you'll enjoy the video. If you do and you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe before you go. So over here behind me is one of the main features here. There's actually a natural spring here, and I believe, if what I've read is correct, that spring provides drinking water for the nearby town of Alcoy. This place is called Paraje del Molinar. I don't actually know exactly what that means, but I do know that this vault was built in around 1914 to protect the spring, and that spring still provides about 60 to 70% of the drinking water for the nearby town. Now, unfortunately, just as I've arrived here, we've also had some people turn up to do, looks like they're doing some work inside the building. So I'm going to move on from here, explore a bit more around, and then come back here later when hopefully they've gone, because otherwise it's going to be really difficult to do any photography here. But it's quite an interesting building, nice scenery around it, nice backdrop, and there's actually a little bit of autumn colours here, although right at the edge of the colours dropping off, so there might be an opportunity here, but I'm going to explore on a little bit further. My research on this place highlighted the spring and the vault, which I've actually seen pictures of before. What it also told me is that there's some old factory buildings here. They're abandoned, and presumably at one point they used they were built along the river, so they used the water from the river here. On the subject of the river, there's very conflicting reports about how much water there is here now. Some reports said that there's still water here after heavy rains, and others have said, well, there's no water here, it's all been kind of siphoned off. I've come here after heavy rains. In fact, 2 nights ago we had a gota fria here, which is a cold drop. Very, very heavy rain, thunderstorms, hail, all sorts of things. And last night there was also heavy rain, although not quite as heavy. So if there's a time that we're going to get water, now might be it. I can see some of the old factory buildings up ahead, so I'm going to go and have a look at them. Well, this is definitely some of the old factory buildings. You can get inside them and have a look around, you can get into some of them anyway. Nothing that's particularly grabbing me. If there was sort of like bigger open spaces, maybe, might be worth shooting, but at the moment I'm not thinking there's any images here. But I'm going to carry on exploring and see if I can find any water. Well, a little bit of water running down off of a wall there. Doesn't look like there's any way to get down to it, but it's pretty. I don't think there's anything photographically to do, and it's not exactly an impressive amount of water. Maybe in spring, after winter thaws, if we get snow in the mountains. I don't know. Well, it looks like these guys that have turned up to do some work here are settling in for the duration. So I'm not quite sure what to do. This is a location that I think I want to return to in about 11 months. End of October, beginning of November next year. Get some really nice autumn colours with this this vault. And if we got the light right, it could look quite pretty. The question is, can I get an image here now using what little we've got available, both compositionally and light-wise? I don't know. Okay, so we've got an interesting kind of juxtaposition here, if I can get the composition right. We've got this vault with a spring in, which is 1914. We've got a road bridge coming in, which is presumably considerably later than that. And then in the background here, we've got some trees with some very last minute autumn colours on them, more browns than anything else. So we've got a combination here and some quite nice clouds. There's a couple of issues. There's a van parked just there, the back end of which I've got to try and avoid getting in the composition. And there's a wooden post here, which is a bit of a pain. It's just here, which is a bit of a pain. But I think it's worth having a go at. Okay, so I'm set up wide angle. What I've got is the path comes in from the bottom left of the frame, and then we've also got the bridge which kind of slants across from the upper right, although not right at the top. Clouds up above. I've got the vault just slightly over to the right and the trees in the background. We've also got some green trees over to the left. I can get this in a single exposure at about 100th of a second. I just need to wait a few seconds because there's a guy wandering around in the scene in yellow stuff, and I also want to make sure there's no traffic going over the bridge when I take the shot that's going to appear in it. Yeah, that might look quite nice. It's probably not going to win any awards, but it's quite nice. I'm just going to have a little wander around, see if there's another composition. I'm also still hoping that these guys are going to disappear soon. Otherwise, I'm going to have to move on somewhere else. Okay, so I've hung around for a while until those workmen have gone, and now I'm trying a shot which is kind of a little bit obvious. I'm going to do two versions of this because the first one I'm just not convinced it's going to work. What I've got is a vertical orientation looking down the ramp towards the vault. There's some trees on the left hand side, and then coming in on the right hand side is some branches with a few leaves which have got that sort of orangey brown autumn colour in, and I've put on a 2-stop soft edged ND grad to hold the sky back because it's blowing out, and I'd really prefer not to exposure blend when I've got these leaves in there because they're almost certainly going to move in any shot that I take or between shots, and that's going to make it really difficult even with luminosity masking. So I'm going to take this shot now, wide angle and we'll see what that looks like. And then what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to move further in, and I'm going to do a shot without the leaves coming in, maybe at a slightly different angle. Okay, I think I'm done here. I think this is a location to revisit, as I said, probably end of October, beginning of November next year, more autumn colours, and hopefully I can plan around the light a little bit better. It may be that it's an evening shoot. I'll check the sun direction before I leave to see what I'm going to do in the future. But for now, I think it's time to head off, get a little bit of lunch, and then move on to my second location, which is going to involve a little bit of walking and exploring. Okay, so I'm at my second location. I've driven about 10 minutes from where I was before, and I'm on a Via Verda. There's quite a lot of these in Spain. Via Verda is green route. They are routes that are set aside for walking, running, cycling, and they make use of the old railway lines, the old railway tracks, not the actual tracks, because there's no sort of metalwork and sleepers and stuff here, no rails, but just the paths that the trains would have gone on. The good thing about that is that they're normally nice, easy routes, reasonably flat, you know, no challenging terrain to get through. But they also tend to go through some quite nice areas, and I'm not quite sure what to expect on this one. I think we might have some bridges. I think there's supposed to be two quite big bridges along here. That might be interesting. And, well, whatever else we find. Let's plod on and see what we got. Well, I've been walking around here for probably about an hour and a half now. I've been through several tunnels. Some of them are well lit, some of them aren't. I've been across a couple of big bridges. One of them I know is the Bridge of the Seven Eyes, and I've taken a look around that, tried some side trails that go off by it, trying to get maybe a decent angle to shoot that from, because it does look quite nice. It's, you know, quite, the shapes and the sort of ornate side of things is quite nice on it. But so far I haven't found anything. I decided to leave it and walk on a bit further, but now I think I might turn around and head back that way, because the route that I'm on at the moment just seems to be sort of taking me along a hillside and through some sort of wooded areas, which is pretty, but isn't opening up much in the way of photographic opportunities either for now or for another time. But it's a nice walk, it's beautiful, and it's easy because it's all flat. Okay, I am back at the bridge of the Seven Eyes. I haven't found a decent angle on the bridge yet because there's lots of sort of trees and plants and things obscuring the scene. But I have found this view through one of the arches, and out in the background there's a mountain. It's got some really nice light on it with the clouds over the top. So I'm going to shoot that. I'm going to need a really fast exposure because of all the reeds blowing around here. So I'm going to need a 60th, an 80th, maybe a 100th of a second. So I'm just going to shoot handheld. It'll be just as easy as setting the tripod up. We'll give it a go. I've got about the best view I can find of this bridge of the Seven Eyes. I can't fit all of the eyes in, there's too much foliage around, but I've got quite a nice view of the scene with the bridge going across the valley, lots of foliage in, mountains in the background and some moody sky. I am shooting this pretty wide angle, 11-22 lens on at, well, it's at 22mm actually, so it's not that wide I suppose. I've got a 3-stop hard-edged ND grad on to try and hold the sky back because it's really bright, and I'm just trying to avoid having to blend where I've got sort of moving leaves and stuff in the scene. So I think using the grad is still a good option. I seriously doubt you're going to be able to see this on the back of the camera, but we'll give it a go. So that's the scene. I think it might look quite nice. Might have to need a little bit of cropping, maybe to a 16:9 format, take out a little bit of the foreground perhaps, but it looks quite interesting. Okay, that's it. I'm pretty much done in. I've walked about 13 kilometers today, and I'm feeling a bit tired, and I think it's time to pack up and head for home. This isn't a sunset location because the sun will disappear behind the mountains in about 10-15 minutes, and it's only 20 to 4. So it's also getting a bit chilly, the wind's quite cold, and I'm quite tired, so I'm going to head for home. I've shot a few images, even though it's not the conventional time of day for landscape photography, but I do sometimes think that just leaning on sunrise and sunset isn't always a good thing, and trying to shoot at different times of the day in different conditions is a good idea. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please give it a like, share it on social media. Wind's definitely getting up. Don't forget about giving it a like, sharing it on social media. Leave me a comment. I hope you'll leave me a comment and let me know what you think. All of those things help me with the channel. And if you've enjoyed this video and you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe before you go. So that's it. Until the next time, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch. So thank you very much, and bye.